What's going on, everyone? This is Chris Toribio with the Freedom Investing Podcast, and I am so happy you're here to join us for another amazing episode. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our latest episodes. Moving on to today's guest, we have Hank Seitz, aka Dr. Hank. He is a world-renowned entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, and award-winning author. Dr. Hank is passionate about helping individuals and organizations increase their happiness and success for 20 years. He has owned a mortgage company and real estate brokerage that he grew to 420 agents in Texas. His primary niche at this point is helping people grow their businesses, commissions, wealth, and themselves. Dr. Hank, welcome to the show. Before we dive into it, give us a quick 2-minute rundown of who you are, your background, and where you are in your journey to achieving time freedom.
Sure, you bet, Chris. Thanks so much for having me on your show. And you're just doing an amazing thing here with freedom and investing. And there's all kinds of ways to have freedom in investing. And I love the nature that you come in order to help the world in order to achieve that. And I think for you listeners out there watching this, that you're going to really enjoy this. This is going to help you take you to the next level of really understanding how life plays. And so I'm a mental scientist and a mindset a doctor, if you will. And I've written 18 books, and those books are all around really what you're doing, Chris. And to help us kind of understand that is to understand how we create anything in our life. And so we literally have the power to be, do, and have anything that we want. And all of science in the last about 6 years have agreed, and this is quantum physicists, molecular biologists, neuroscientists, they've all agreed that it just takes 3 steps to get anything we want. So if you want more time, if you want to be independently wealthy like myself, if you want to have passive income, I have several streams of passive income, all of those things, anything and more time, that we literally can achieve that through the 3 steps that the scientists have proven. And the first step is it all starts with us, and it's our all-powerful thoughts. So those thoughts, and we have 60,000 thoughts a day. And Chris, can you believe about 80% of those are negative or unwanted thoughts?
No kidding.
And so because our thoughts start everything to create whatever we want, if we're thinking 80% of the time that the things we don't want, and hey, I'm busy, I'm tired, I don't have enough time, there's traffic, I don't have enough money, etc., that we in essence will get what we're asking for. And even though, you say, but no, I said, I want more time, but we're saying it in such a way that we're really saying, I don't have enough time. And then our thought, our prayer, if you will, is answered, and we won't get enough time. So the first step is our all-powerful thought, and that's where I really help people to be able to improve their thinkings, their thought process that they have that improves their results. The second step is that our thoughts actually create energy, according to the scientists, and that energy is our feelings. And this is why our feelings are so important. That how are we really feeling about whatever we're asking for, whatever we're thinking about. And so it's our emotions. And again, this is all proven by science. And so these thoughts create energy, and that goes into step 3, where that energy, according to scientists, creates matter, M-A-T-T-E-R. And this is why thoughts become things, Chris.
Wow, that's a really great breakdown over there. And so, talk to us a little bit about how you got started in this in the first place. I mean, I want to rewind this back to when you first started your mortgage company and your real estate
Yeah.
brokerage, and how you
Yes.
ultimately grew that before exiting that business, right? So,
Yeah.
you had a really great component there in that your thoughts create energy, and that translates to these feelings and emotions that you're experiencing, and then
Yeah.
ultimately that'll precipitate in form of matter. And
Yeah.
did you know this early on in your career when you first started your business? Like how did that look like
Yeah.
a long time
I
ago?
actually did not. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I got picked up by Procter and Gamble. And so I worked my way up a ladder, if you will, with Procter and Gamble. And half the time they had me in this amazing business training, and the other half the time that I was managing a multi-billion-dollar company. And what I realized is that my people, I could tap my people's potential. And so based on my business experience and my education, that I used that and I created a program again at Procter and Gamble, and I used it on about 175 of my main people that were managing the Southeast United States with me. And our market share grew, our profits grew, our sales grew. And so P&G called me up to Cincinnati and said, listen, whatever you're doing, we want more of it. And we want you to take this international. And at that point, I really realized that I needed to go to my passion. So one of the things that I think all of our listeners really enjoy here is to understand whatever you're passionate about, go ahead and do it. All the money will follow you and everything else will follow you. If you're doing something that you don't like, it's really your higher power telling you, hey, there's a better way. There's something, where you're going to really love what you're doing. Like now, I don't work at all. I just play. I enjoy helping people to become their greatest possibility. So when I created that, I left that, and I left Procter and Gamble, and I started my management consulting company. And because I literally a time-proven process that could help measurably increase business results. And so I had Essilor Lens Company, IBM, Chase, Procter and Gamble, Caterpillar, all these big international companies that I've helped, and did that, and basically had an opportunity to buy a mortgage company as I was acquiring wealth. And so bought the mortgage company, really enjoyed working with the loan officers, and then we were associated with a real estate company. And so that got me into the real estate industry, if you will. And what I loved about it is I knew that I could start about using this program that I would use for big companies. I'd use it for individuals. And basically what my program does is tap our potential and helps us to increase our imagination, creativity, to do things better, to do things easier, to have more time. And so literally, if we, it's been shared with us, ask and you shall receive. And so, what are we asking for? Again, most of us are asking for what we don't want 80% of the time. And so as we start waking up to, I want to just start thinking about what I want. So yes, one of the greatest things that really gets in our way is we have these beliefs buried within us, and a lot of it comes from our childhood. And one of those are to face reality. People say, come on now, face reality. Look at your bank account, look at your relationships, whatever. And really, everything that's happening in our life, Chris, right now is really old news, because based on science, that it all starts with my thought creates energy, and then that creates my experience. So what I'm experiencing actually came from my thought. Well, if I keep on thinking about what's in front of me, what's happening right now, I'll just get more of what's happening right now. And if it's good, great. If it's wanted, super. But if it's unwanted, and so a lot of people, will tell me, Doctor, hey, quit being in la la land. Why don't you face reality? And my response is, I'm never going to face reality. I'm going to create it. And we know how to create it with our thoughts.
Very interesting. And so, this was obviously a skill set that you developed in being able to create this successful consulting firm that you had once you left Procter and Gamble. And
Yeah.
so, when you first graduated, what did you graduate in, or how did you go about developing that skill set that allowed you to
Yeah.
leave Procter and Gamble and start that consulting company and help these huge businesses succeed?
Yeah. So a lot of people say, oh, what's your education? And, you're a doctor and, all of that. And really what I do now comes from divine intelligence. So I get my information kind of from the source, if you will. And so because of that, in one of the kind of missing links for me was I understood, business. I understood how the mind worked, and I read great books and Think and Grow Rich. In fact, I wrote a book called Think, Feel, and Grow Rich, like Napoleon Hill's book, but added that feeling in there because I knew on my study what I had learned about how things become, how thoughts become things, and so I realized that we each have all the answers. We just need to ask, have the Father do the work, and then receive. And so when you just start asking for example, I'd like to have more time. Show me the way. What's some way to have more time? And I'll give you some answers and solutions. So what I do is I basically channel answers and solutions for organizations, people, whatever, for myself. And so what are those answers and solutions? So for example, with time, that what have most of us been saying to ourselves that, oh, I don't have enough time. And so what in essence we do is we got more, not enough time. Another thing we say to ourselves is, oh, I'm busy. Well, I'm asking for busy, and you're going to get busy, and you'll never have time for anything. And so it's really about how, what we're thinking about that's going to be able to create what we want. And so for us to just step back and say, hey, what do I want? And I have an incredible process that helps people in their thinking called the Joy Shot. And I've helped thousands of people all over the world with this. And literally within hours, days, max weeks, that they start getting more of what they want. That most people really aren't clear on what they want. They think, I want more money, but believe me, I've worked with billionaires, millionaires that they have money and they're miserable. Okay. And really everything that we want, it's actually just so we feel better. Because just think, when you want, money and you get your first million, you're off to the next million. Where am I going to get the next million from? So we really aren't, it really isn't about, we think that it's, hey, if I have this, I'll get it. But what you want to do, you can't have a happy ending without a happy journey. And so as you just start feeling better, and the most important thing that any of us can ever ask for is that I want to feel better. And when I say I want to feel better, what that does is that raises our vibration, raises our point of attraction to all the things that we desire. And it really aligns us with our higher power.
I love that. That really reminds me of a book that I read here recently. It's with another business coach. His name's Dan Sullivan, and he wrote this book called The Gap and the Gain. And it reminds me of that in the sense that, a lot of people tend to focus on, when I get there, I will be happy, or I will be satisfied when this happens, or they focus on the fact that they're not there yet, and that makes for this unpleasant journey that they're experiencing. When the reality is you should be celebrating the wins that you're experiencing throughout the journey, so that way you can make that a pleasurable one for the long term, right?
Absolutely.
And so you had mentioned,
if I can, just on that point, that when you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm not there yet, then that becomes your asking, your prayer, if you will. And so then you'll never get there. Or, hey, I'll eventually get there. Okay, well, today isn't eventually yet, And so it's really this idea about thinking about what you want, it just being focused on that I'm getting there, it's getting better, that I'm, on my path, I'm going to enjoy myself. And when you do, everything will come to you easily and quickly.
Absolutely. And so you had mentioned something really interesting earlier, in that you've worked with, a lot of these wealthy individuals that have all the money in the world, but they're not happy, right?
Yeah.
And there are other people that are out there that want this certain net worth, whether it be $1 million or whatever it may be. But the reality is they just don't have true clarity of what it is that makes them happy. And
Right.
so for that person who doesn't truly have that type of clarity, what would you suggest to them to kind of help achieve that clarity so they can really have a focused pivot in what it is that they do moving forward?
Yeah, yeah. Well, for those of you that are really serious about making a change, really wanting to have what the things that you want, because literally I've helped people to have their dreams come true. And the most effective way is through this joy shop. And it's basically an exercise in the morning, that a mental exercise, if you will. This takes about 15 minutes. And I would be willing to, if you're any of you that are truly interested, you can just text me. My number's 214-753-7204 and ask me for the Joy Shot. And it really will get you started on your path, on your thought, because there's another factor, and also you can get a hold of me, a real easy one, drhank at drhank.biz, B-I-Z. But again, if you're, it's this inspired action. If you're inspired and saying, hey, I really do want to make a difference, while I'm listening to Chris's Freedom Investing, that, I want to be doing half more. And believe me, I've helped over 100 people the last 2 years become millionaires. Okay. And, it's kind of funny, that millionaire word, $1 million, average investment is 5%, get that out, on the average investment, it's only 50 grand a year to have passive income. So we really want more. We want to become, a good way of saying it is, independent, wealthy. That's what we want, to be able to have that freedom, because money is great. Money is a blessing. That it's just that most people that get money then are worried about losing it. And so I'm working with a wealthy individual right now who has all the money in the world, and basically is afraid of losing it and very unhappy because he's allowed. And here we're going to get into, Chris, something that when we all understand this, it will free. And you should really know the truth here and understand that how powerful that you are. But with this, for example, this individual that is unhappy, it's funny that what is in his way, and in fact, in all of our ways, until you recognize this, is that we have what I call a committee within our mind. And that committee, it's like this beautiful mahogany table, beautiful black executive chairs around that table. And again, just imagine this head. And here the people are at the table, and or beings, if you will, at the table. It's fear is there at the table. Worry, doubt, complaining, blame, shame, guilt. And at the head of the table is the judge. And that judge is usually investing a lot of time telling you about how you did this wrong, or you didn't get this enough, or whatever. So the only devil, if you will, in the world, in our lives, is this little committee. I call it the drunken monkey, because when you just observe it, it tells you things that are just ridiculous and are really there for your demise. And so most people are being guided by their lower self, this drunken monkey, and it takes them to what they don't want. And they basically go down rabbit holes on a bunch of things they don't want, and it prevents us from really thinking about what we do want and creating the life of our dreams. And so when we realize that we don't have to listen to this drunken monkey, and it's the little voice that is keeping you up at 2:00 at night. It's the voice that is saying, "Oh, I'm so mad about that. I feel so guilty about the past." And the past is dead. The future is only determined by what you're thinking right now. And so when you stop thinking about the things you don't like, you don't want, the unwanted, if you will, and only think about the things you do want, then it's only possible to have all of your dreams come true.
So what do you think is the source behind why so many people think like this in the first place, and why they have to learn to recognize this so that they can overcome it? I mean, is this a survival mechanism? Like what do you think is the underlying reason behind this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really is that we have, if we think of ourselves as we have two selves, our lower self and our higher self. And our higher self is connected with higher power, and that's where the answers and solutions to everything that we want are. And at the same time, so this is really taking it to answer your question to a broader perspective, that see, all of us, each one of us, couldn't wait to get down to this place we call Mother Earth, because this Earth, this place we live in, has everything we want, everything we don't want. And we have to experience what we don't want to include unwanted thoughts by the committee to help us have clarity of what we do want, to create a better future for us. So what most people have done, and this includes our parents and our ancestors, and this has happened, like we say, "Oh, I hope I'm not like my dad and my mom," and one day we wake up and
just like that commercial.
Dad is my mom. Yeah. It's like, how darn it, I didn't want to, be this way. But, again, whenever I focus my attention, I grow. So I'm saying I don't want to be like my dad. It's my dad I'm thinking about. I end up, being my dad. But they have committee members, so understand that they have this contrast. So they thought they were helping us when they said, we're a little boy and little girl at 5 years old, and they say, "Don't talk to strangers." Okay. And they said it with such energy, we thought we might die from that. And that's because they were thinking from that perspective that we would. And so this is why the number one fear in America isn't death, it's public speaking. And so we have these ingrained, beliefs, if you will. And again, our parents meant well and everything. They just didn't know it was their committee talking, and that they should have just been sending us love and well-being and telling us what a beautiful world it is, because if that's all I'm thinking about, that's the only thing I attract. This is a world of attraction, not of all of a sudden something gets inserted into my life. I have to think about it in order to attract it. So why do we have this committee? It's actually so we can observe it, understand what we don't want, and then turn our other cheek, if you will, and ask, what do I want? And so, for example, an argument with your spouse and so some of you, I must be a challenge right now, and some of you that are listeners out there, I have some issues with your relationship, and it's all okay. But instead of being mad at it, being upset about it, being sad about it, whatever, take it and just say, this is simply what I don't want. What do I want? I want a deeper, more loving relationship with my spouse. I want to be able to really be free and let down my guard and just be pure love. I want to take the chains and locks off of my heart and just open up my heart to, my spouse, to the world, to others, because there's really nothing to be guarded about. We've just been told we need to be guarded, and now we're guarded. And so because we have a guard, other people become a guard, and we don't have the life that we want, the relationships that we want. And, and for us to have all the money we want, it's really about relationships. Other people are the ones that help us. We need other people to help us to our desires. And so one great thing to ask for every day is, I want to attract people who help me to my desires. But most people are, oh, but that's selfish. Well, believe it or not, I can't think or feel for anybody else but myself. And when I think and feel for myself and I'm feeling good, I'm thriving, and everybody else around me will thrive. And so when we release ourselves and free ourselves from these old beliefs and just start calling it the way that we want it, Chris, that we can literally have it and have our dreams come true.
I love it. Yeah, there was one person who had mentioned before too that when it comes to talking with people and you sense that you don't have this energy that you otherwise would have, a lot of times too, it's also taking inventory of, well, am I sleepy? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Yeah. There's a physical aspect to that too, right? And a lot of times, if your mindset is not in the right place, do you also feel that there's some sort of physical contributor to that, apart from what's happening within yourself in terms of a mindset standpoint?
Yeah. So, see, that's the committee making up all that crap. Oh, I'm really tired today. Well, now you're going to be more tired. Okay. And when you leave that, because it's the mind that controls the body, it's not the body that controls the mind. But the committee wants to goof you up on that and say, hey, you're not feeling right, your right knee hurts, whatever it is. And the committee is looking all over to try to think. And then when, if my knee hurts, I just, this is what I don't want. What do I want? I want to increase my health. I want to feel great. And so I also teach something, and I call it pre-pave, PRE-PAVE. And so this is where you pre-pave everything in your life. In the morning, you pre-pave the way you want your day to be. I want my travels. I don't even say traffic. I say I want my travels to be smooth, easy, and enjoyable. I don't even say the word safe. Why? It's too close. It's a slippery slope. Am I really thinking safe, or am I thinking I'm unsafe? And so if I say, hey, my travel was smooth, easy, and enjoyable, I don't have to be concerned about it. So it's really what we're talking to ourselves. And by pre-paving those relationships and myself, that, hey, I feel filled with energy, that I'm energized, that the people that I meet, that I, uplift them. We uplift each other. We help each other to our desires. So if you have that talk, see, because we're vibrational beings, if you will, everything is energy. And with our minds, we can literally manage energies that creates worlds into our experience. So if I start saying, like, I'm going to have a great call, which I did, by the way, this morning with Chris, that next thing I know, because I change, because I'm there, that Chris changes. Okay. Because you open up to that. Oh, this is nice. This is love. This is openness. This is, kindness. And so when you start just focusing on that and not focusing on what's going on, that you'll start creating the life of your dreams.
Love it. Love it. Well, Dr. Hank, we are coming towards the end of today's show, but before we finish, it is time for the Freedom 5. These are 5 questions that we ask every guest on our show, starting with the most important question. What is your why? What is the underlying motivation behind everything it is that you do?
Yeah, everything. It's feel good. And the reason why is when I feel good, I'm connected to my higher power, and that then the heavens part, and I get everything that I want, and I'm an uplifter to the world.
Love it. Number 2, what book has had the largest influence on your life?
Well, since I've written 18 books, that I'm going to take, actually, here's a great one. If you want more easy money, easy life, that's a great one. That's my second to last. That's my 17th book. So I would either recommend that. And it also is a program with like videos, meditation by like Archangel Michael. And I mean, really just magical senses that'll get you more income within 3 weeks. It's fabulous. But my most recent is Walk with God. And this really will help you to understand how life plays, how you can have life play for you and get what you want.
Wonderful. Number 3, what is the most impactful thing, whether it's a piece of technology, a habit, or a person, that has helped when it comes to freeing up your time?
Yeah, and for sure that it's the joy shop in the morning. That's the habit that I have that gives me more time. I ask to look younger, feel younger. It's just all fun. What do most people say? Oh, I'm getting old or whatever. And then that'll speed all that up. And so it's really a way to create your life and become, we're all creators, but this is a way to become a deliberate creator, Chris.
Love it. 4th question, what is your number 1 piece of advice you would give to anyone else looking to achieve more control over their time?
Yeah. So, a few tidbits. Again, get rid of what you're saying on, oh, I'm busy, I don't have enough time. Then your prayer then, if you will, is I don't have enough time, you'll get more than enough time. And so start thinking about what you do want. I want to have more time. I want to have more freedom. I want to have, and when we come to money that, and we have so much resistance towards that, like, think of the relationship most people have with money. It's like, there's not enough of it. Where are you? You're missing. And so really start building a relationship with prosperity, with money. And as you do, you'll get more of it.
Love it. And the 5th and final question we have here, Dr. Hank, what is the best way for our listeners to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can call me, text me at 214-753-7204. And, a lot of people say, well, how can you do that? I actually have agents all over the United States, and it's still about real estate and passive income side of it. And, I coach, I have a full coaching schedule. And people say, how do you have time? And, well, because I created that I know I asked for, that I have plenty of time. And another easy way to get a hold of me is drhank at drhank.biz, B-I-Z.
All right. Well, Dr. Hank, lots of really good information today. I love how you provided some insight into the mindset that goes behind what it is that people experience in their day-to-day life. I love how you shared that thoughts start with thoughts, and then the thoughts become energy, feelings, and emotions, and ultimately energy creates the matter and the experience in which you live your life. And I love how you really talked about the challenges that people have to go through in order to obtain the clarity it is that they need in their life, when they think they want something, the reality is they want probably something else. And so I just want to thank you again for being a fantastic guest on our show, and I really look forward to remaining in touch.
Well, you bet. Thank you so much. And to all of you out there, know if you have the ability to have your dreams come true, for you to have plenty of time, plenty of investment.